what do we have the right to defend ourselves with?
I kind of just stumped myself on that one. Yeah, that's.
My opinion is that it's a natural human right to be able to defend yourself. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So the criminals in this country, they will always have guns. Like, there is no effective way in which we're able to prevent them from having guns. So the only effective way for the person who's being attacked or whatever, the only way for them to defend themselves would be for them have a gun as well.
Okay.
So to that end, I see gun ownership as a right.
Okay. Where I disagree is I think it's a privilege. I don't necessarily think it's a right. I don't think we have a right to technology. Self-protection is definitely a right. Self-defense, completely a right since the dawn of time. But since guns aren't, I guess, natural, they were created. Don't think we have any right to anything that isn't natural. I mean, okay, that's a slippery slope. It's a pretty bad argument. But I guess if someone loses the privilege to own the firearm, and this is coming from someone who is very much pro-gun ownership, I think there shouldn't be any real limitations on types of firearms or blanket bans, buyback bans, all that kind of stuff. But it's similar the way if similar argument if someone's driving drunk, they lost their right to the license to drive a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
They should be. I don't know if they should be technically allowed to drive after that. I would kind of wager that it would probably be best if they didn't drive after a certain amount of DUIs. They've proven to society that they're not capable.
Yeah.
If someone is showing signs, obviously, mental health checks, they're not always reliable, they're not always accurate, they're problematic in themselves. If someone has harmed someone intentionally with a firearm, not out of self-defense, out of pure malice, I would probably be on the side of them not being able to legally own the gun. I know they're probably going to get it anyways, but I mean, in terms of a legal right, if they still want to use another weapon for self-defense, I don't have an issue with that. Mm-hmm. But I think everybody should be given the right to have the privilege to own a firearm until proven otherwise.
Okay.
I just don't know if it would be completely give them unlimited chances because it's a right to self-defense. That's kind of where I am.
Okay, yeah. So, privileges, definitely the way that we see it in the Canadian legislation right now is it's a privilege avowed to us by the government. But a lot of people have seen it differently as more of a human right to self-defense. So, if we have, obviously I feel like we're both on the same page here as far as human rights and stuff. But if we have the right to our self-defense, then what do we have the right to defend ourselves with?
Of course, I know it's tricky, right? I know someone could say a knife, but I mean it's not always feasible, especially if somebody pulls a gun on you. You're not going to really pull a knife. The gun is obviously the greatest option for self-defense 9 out of 10 times in any kind of situation. I would assume then if that person who lost the right to own a gun still had a gun, that they could still be allowed to use it in self-defense given that circumstance, but then that just kind of makes the whole laws of gun rights obsolete if nobody really obeys by them. It's tricky. I know I've thought about this one for so long because I've always been pro-gun, but I also understand the reason behind certain legislations, not so much the liberal legislations. Been a bit fan of Second Amendment for the U.S. Definitely agree with that. I think everybody should be able to own and carry a gun. With proper training, with proper teaching, vetting, information, stuff like that, similar to driver's ed. But I don't know how I would rectify. I'm trying not to use the mass shooter example because it's such an overused example and
I know.
I'm trying to think of something a bit more unique.
Yeah, there are so many ways to prevent mass shootings.
Absolutely.
And the best deterrent for any violence with a gun is to have a good guy with the gun, right? So I personally do think that anyone who is mentally stable should be able to, like, concealed carry their own firearm, right? Because there's just so many instances where it saved lives.
Absolutely.
Right? So.
Definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm just, I know. I was trying to think of anything other than, like, the mass shooter argument. Okay. I do think, see, this is where I have cognitive dissonance on this one, because, for example, in the States, I travel there a lot. I'm frequent in the States. I love the fact that they have as many guns as they want. I also think the amount of guns, sometimes the access is problematic for certain individuals.
Okay. Yeah.
So. Polite on this one.
Yeah. So in the States, there is, like, training and licensing, or at least some way to vet people, like make sure that they're able to actually have the gun, right? Yeah. So there's a legal way to purchase a gun in the States, in most states, I think. So it still happens in the States that those who want to create or do criminal acts, they go through legal avenues, right? So, and that's the case with Canada as well. So I think we really should eliminate any way for someone to illegally obtain a firearm.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The one thing that I always think about, and I notice this with debates all throughout, and I've never been able to think of my own kind of answer to it. I'm obviously against 100% blanket bans on anything. But then when you notice about Australia, when they've completely removed, like, the vast majority of the guns to almost extinct.
Yeah.
The mass shooting rate has plummeted, and obviously there's certain cultural aspects to it, but I do think there's almost a little bit of truth, though it might be extremely radical to completely eliminate guns altogether. And, like, if that makes sense. I noticed the stats, the stats of, obviously, mass shootings have gone down after that because they don't have as much access for mass shootings. Now, mass stabbings, different story. Everybody's going to find a way to do it, but I would say, to the reduction of harm or the reduction of potential casualty numbers and harm is pretty important, whereas guns obviously give you an easier access and higher chance for more casualties. I mean, that's just a quick thing.
Yeah, but cars as well, though.
Yes.
Actually, they're almost more dangerous.
Yes, I would agree. The difference between a mass casualty thing with cars is, once you stop the car, like once you crash the car, you're not really pulling on. Yeah. But yes, it's still, people are going to find a way no matter what, and I do think everybody should have the right to carry a gun. I just am trying to rectify on how I would. There's no perfect system, There's
no perfect system with imperfect people.
No, exactly. It's tough, and we're not going to have more Big Brother to try and dig up through our social media to see if we're mentally stable. I mean, that's a slippery slope as well.
I know. For PAL holders in Canada, it's literally like daily background checks. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely. I've looked into it myself. But yeah, I guess that would be, at the end of the day, I'd say it's a right until you lose the ability to do it.
Yeah.
Similar to how certain people probably shouldn't be allowed to have kids. I don't think certain people should be able to have kids if they've been determined as an unfit parent or sexual disorders or anything like that.
Okay.
Similar to that.
Okay.
You have rights until you're proven ineligible for rights. But then again...
but it gets really slippery then when you're determining that someone's ineligible for that, right?
And then that gets rid of the whole concept of rights. His rights should not be taken away regardless.
Yeah.
So I kind of just stumped myself on that one. Yeah, that's...
Yeah. Because if you can say that someone is ineligible for the right, then who determines that? And then that's going to be like, okay, there's someone higher that determines when you're not, and then you get into socialism and big government, and it's like, at that point, it's difficult. So.
Yeah, on a philosophical level, it's hard to argue. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. That was definitely something for me to think about on how to view it.